It sounds so much fancier than it is, but you never know. It could be a huge one.
No, this is fancy, man. I've got a lovely cup of tea.
We've had our first agent say no to an interview, in terms of someone wants to do it, and then their agent said no.
Why?
We have no idea.
I mean, obviously, I know like you guys are paying me like, was it a grand?
Yeah.
So that's absolutely. Like, I've got no problem.
Hello and welcome to the Young Performers Podcast. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in for the last few weeks. We're not recording these chronologically, so I have no idea which episode this is. But thank you for coming in last week, whatever week that was. I'm going to say it was week 8. Who knows? We don't know. But we have an amazing guest this week.
Would you stop?
He's wonderful. One of the most lovely and genuine performers I've met in recent memory. The wonderful Mr. Chris Sawalha.
Hey!
You see what I mean? It's like I have to think.
I'll do intermittent slurping just so you recover yourself.
Okay. Chris.
I'm just feeling. Yes, you got it.
Chris Sawalha.
There we go.
Should we do that again, or is that good?
Who knows?
The wonderful.
All you gotta do is say his name right once.
Yeah. It'll fade out. How about we fuck it up? You fade out and then we fade back in. Chris Sawalha. There we go. And then we start. Well, we've started. So, Chris, thank you so much for being on the show.
You're more than welcome. This is great.
It's a pleasure to have you.
No, it's nice. There's a nice cup of tea as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, Susan.
So we're just going to dive straight in.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've said that sentence in the beginning of every interview. With a very vague question.
It's alright.
So do your best. How did you first get involved with acting?
Well, I I didn't get on with any other subject at school particularly.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just be frank. I hated school. I liked things that went with school, but I didn't get on with the school system at all. I'm like very dyslexic with maths, so literally it'd be like 1 + 1 = 2, but what the hell does 1 mean? So luckily they did on Fridays they did GCSE drama, which was a crack because you just get to like play around. And then it was only when in year I didn't take it seriously, I just enjoyed it. It was only in year 11 when they did Grease at my high school that my mate kind of like bullied me into auditioning, which was a horrible idea because I thought there's no way I'm ever going to stand in front of my high school and act. But I did it because my mate bullied me, and thank God he did. And like, yeah, man. And then from there, I went on to college because that was the next stage actually. Because it's kind of like a progression. I realised that I've got to do A levels, and I just hated the idea of exams. So you could do a BTEC in drama, which was great because there's no exams and it's one subject, and drama's great. Did that, really enjoyed it, and then it was only from there that my lecturer was like, "You should try for drama school." And I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know what drama school was. That's just the God's honest. Like I'm from a small town in the West Midlands. Didn't really grow up seeing much theatre. So I literally had to be like, what do I do? What drama school should I try? And he told me like RADA, Guildhall, Central, ALRA, and just kind of just went for it and managed to get in. And then things have just so far, touch wood, just kept moving forward, which is good.
Awesome. So, which drama schools did you apply for?
Oh, I did try for quite a few. I tried for East 15, Central, Guildhall, RADA, and ALRA.
Awesome. And how were all the auditions? How did it all go?
Probably terrible, because I didn't know what I was doing. Like looking back, it's a miracle I got into any of them. I had no idea. I remember I chose this speech from a monologue book, which is all about. I mean, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was pretty filthy. And at sort of 18, I probably didn't really even know what I was saying. But these guys at the Guildhall audition obviously found it really funny. So what they did was they went out and they found this really attractive girl who was sort of helping to host the auditions. They brought her in and made me deliver this disgusting speech at her. Yeah, so that was great.
Awesome. So, apart from ALRA, did you get into any other drama schools? Or?
No, I didn't.
Awesome. So can you tell us what ALRA is for those who don't know?
Yeah, ALRA stands for the Academy of Live and Recorded Arts. It's in Wandsworth, and I've got to say, it's a really good drama school. It's very good it's a very good all-rounder. It trains you in radio, which I shouldn't say that because now I should probably be a lot better at it. But it trains you in TV and really, really extensively in theatre. So it just sets you up. Looking back, it really sets you up for life in the industry. And the other good thing they do there, which I mean, obviously I've got no other point of reference. I don't know what other drama schools are like, but they're really good at actually preparing you for life outside as well. They don't kind of cotton wool you. They are very much from day one, straight down the line. They're saying, look, it's hard. Don't be here because you want to be famous or rich, because that would be foolish. But it's a long game and it's a working game, and you know they train you. They like talking about. I'm sure we'll talk about it later on. But writing, that was something that they did hammer into us as well. That kind of stuff.
So in hindsight, looking back at your drama school auditions, is there anything that you wish you did differently, that you look back and go, God, they were so bad because of this reason, or like a big lesson you could teach yourself in hindsight?
Well, the thing is, I don't regret anything, because I mean, without sounding kind of arrogant, I'm not in any way unhappy with what I'm doing now. So, and this is only a natural progression of the way things have been before. But in a way, I was very young. I mean, like I said, when I was doing those speeches, I probably wasn't really, I was not only immature as a performer, but also immature as a person. So in hindsight, I think possibly it isn't a bad thing if you do take out some time to do something else. You know, like people who do MA courses, I think I can understand that, because that's quite a crucial stage, you know, between the ages of 18 and 21. It's quite a crucial, like, growing up stage. And there's a lot of things you need to discover about yourself. But doing all that stuff alongside trying to learn how to act and being in an intense drama school is pretty hectic. So maybe, obviously there's no regrets, but I suppose it wouldn't be a bad thing to actually have not got in at all and had a year out and done another job and just sort of, get to grow up a little bit first.
Do you have any advice for anyone who is currently applying for drama schools? Anything that you could offer anyone?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of talk about how drama schools are looking for people to be kind of conform to certain. Well, I don't know. Maybe that's not right. This is the tackiest piece of advice, but it honestly is the one thing that it actually is. I've realised is true. Is be yourself. Just completely be. Don't ever apologise for yourself. I mean, that's very general, but I mean, that does span quite a lot of areas, including acting. Just don't apologise for yourself. Go for it. And they want you to be good, so just have the confidence and know that you're there in the door because you've got something anyway, and just give them what you can give, I guess.
Awesome. So when you were training, did you have kind of a breakthrough lesson or performance, something that you look back on and you go, that changed me as a performer, and that is a lesson that you've taken away with you to everything you apply now?
It's really strange because, I think I don't know about lessons exactly, because I think, as I said before, me personally, I think I might have been a bit of a petulant student. I think, not in a kind of rebellious kind of way, but I think at the time I sort of thought, what is it? I questioned it a lot. I was like, what's this doing? Why am I doing this? How is this going to help? So at the time, perhaps there was things that I was doing that I wasn't actually really understanding and appreciating and realising that they were working. But now I've left, it's quite funny. So many of the things that I learned at drama school, I've now realised that I couldn't have done a certain job without having known them. I mean, the most basic one would be, like, for example, voice work. I kind of thought, well, why are we spending hours every week working on our voices? I want to do acting. That was the way I was thinking at the age of like 20. But really, after doing... I did a really long outdoor tour, and there's no acoustics. We're in the middle of fields and in the rain and all this sort of stuff. And the voice work, really, I really had to get straight back to that and try and rediscover all that and go into it, and that really did save me on that job. So, for sure. I mean, things like that have definitely helped.
I'm sorry, I don't know what's with me right now. I was really blah.
No, he's doing fine.
Oh.
I feel like I'm gassing too much.
No, seriously, no. Please keep going. Like, anecdote away. I'm just.
Well, there was, for example, like with outdoor theatre when I did the. I don't know if I'm racing ahead here, but like, it was a long old tour. It was like 6 months long, and I think before that I'd done a show in a theatre, which was okay, and I was having a bit of trouble with my voice on that, but I could get away with it because it was in the round and it was an acoustic environment. Doing an outdoor tour, and for like 6 months on the road. and doing a show every day except for Sunday, I would get to Wednesday and my voice was nearly gone, and that was terrifying because we're performing in front of like hundreds of people. So I remember I actually contacted my old voice teacher John, and I said, look, this is happening, and he was awesome. He just gave me paragraph after paragraph of things to do in preparation, and those are things that I use to this day, like things that I probably didn't appreciate at the time, like nasal resonance, head voice, chest voice, you know, support and all that kind of stuff, which is obviously really basic stuff, but that everyone will know if they've been to drama school. But yeah, it really, it's brilliant.
Awesome. So do you have a kind of a class on that subject of all this kind of all that voice work, which at the time feels a bit weird and silly? Do you have a drama class, like an acting class or a voice class that you look back on and you just, it's really memorable for a bad reason? It's just like you look back on and you just go, what was going on?
I remember we were asked as a class to try and breathe through our anuses.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, we've had that.
Now, believe me, how many times I tried, it can't be done. It cannot be done. And I'm still trying to this day, but I'm adamant that you cannot breathe through your arse. But you know, maybe that's what separates the greats from the lessers. You know, maybe they can all breathe through their arseholes. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So moving on into kind of towards the end of your training, and the process of kind of being introduced to the industry itself, and getting an agent and all that work. How did you find the process of trying to get an agent while at drama school?
Oh, hideous. No, actually, no, it was grim. It was terrible because it dawns on you. You know, when you're at drama school in our third year, we got the chance to play all kinds of amazing parts. And looking back, we really did parts that you'd never be cast as in a million years. But you get to see people stretch and do wonderful things, and you realise that some people are incredibly talented. As soon as we got introduced to that world, the industry, we realised that it is very much. You start to find yourself being pigeonholed. And people are looking at you and without even realising what people can do, they're just saying, right, you're going to do that, you're going to do that. That was quite hard. But actually getting an agent was quite hard. I didn't get one out of drama school. The showcase wasn't great, but I was lucky because I got a job off the back of a director who came into our drama school, and off the back of that job, I then got an agent. But it's hard. It's very easy to get dispirited by all that stuff as well. But believe me, that it's not the be all or end all at all.
So, how was this first job? Can you tell us a bit more about that?
It was a dream come true. It was up in Scarborough, the Stephen Joseph Theatre, which was previously Alan Ayckbourn's theatre in the Round, and it was a dream come true. I mean, I was starstruck. It was, in a weird way, I almost feel like I was kind of a bit out of my depth, but it was great as well, because I'd gone from thinking that I was never going to act again to suddenly being on the main stage in the Stephen Joseph Theatre with professional actors and big audiences, and Scarborough's just a beautiful place as well. It's just a magical little place. It was brilliant.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what happened? So after that job, what was next for you? So you then got an agent. How did that come about?
I wrote to an agent who I knew had come in to see quite a few of our shows, but hadn't signed me or hadn't met them. And I said, look, I've just got this job myself, but I could really do with representation. They gave me a meeting, and I'm still with them now. And they're nice, yeah. But I didn't have anything lined up after Scarborough, and that was when I learnt the most important lesson. The one thing that's been the most important thing to me, because there was an actor in the company called Henry DeVas, our name, and brilliant actor, taught me one of the best lessons. I was like, dude, what do I do now? Because this is great, but now what do I do? He was like, write to people. And again, I was like, well, that's all very well, but how do I know who to write to? How do I even write a letter? Like, what's the etiquette? How do I... Very basic stuff, like how do I phrase this, you know? And he sat down and he taught me through it, and he told me about a great website that I've used called Dramatic, which is brilliant because it gives you a breakdown of lots of different things that are going to be cast in the future, and if you're lucky, it'll tell you who's casting them and where, when, and where, and and that's been really good. So then I realised, because before that I had this weird misconception that I think a lot of us had at drama school, that agents, it's all on the agents, that you sit at home and they will get you your work. But I quickly realised that I couldn't rely on that, so I got into the discipline of writing myself, and it really does work. I mean, don't get me wrong, you have to send out a lot of letters, and most of them will get ignored, but some don't, and people do get back to you. That's definitely one thing I'd advise people to do if they haven't got an agent, especially. Definitely do write.
Cool, awesome. And is dramatic has that helped you come across roles until this day?
Yeah. I found the Hampstead Theatre job off that. It was saying that Labyrinth's it's a play that's going to be going on from the 8th of September till the 8th of October, and I was like, okay, this looks really interesting. Obviously it's a new play, so you couldn't find out about it, but I went on the Hampstead website and found out that Gillian and Suzanne are casting. So I sent them a letter just saying, look, and I meant it, I said, this sounds like a fantastic project. I would love to be part of it. I don't know if you've already cast it yet, but if you haven't done, I would be happy to play any part if there's anything that might be suitable. I'd love you to keep me in mind. And lo and behold, they got back. So yeah, it does work.
Sweet. So we all love the kind of acting side of acting. It's amazing. That's the reason we do this all. But if there's one thing about being an actor you could change, one thing about the industry itself, what would it be?
Where to begin? I think this is the thing that is obviously a lot of people are becoming aware of this now. The one thing I would change, I think, is the elitism that does exist, because it does exist, and that's not to say that people who are from perhaps a more privileged background than I am are any less talented or any less deserving. They're not. There's wonderful actors out there. All I mean is that there's not that ease of access for people who aren't necessarily from such a privileged background. So I've known people back home who are immensely talented, but they just couldn't afford to be in it. And
is there like a specific moment where you've noticed that affect you? And
not me personally. I'm thinking of a lot of other people, a lot of other friends that I've known who are great, but just would not be able to do it. Maybe also an emphasis on education as well, because I think, for example, there's a lot of, I've done TIE jobs before, there's a lot of schools that don't really do drama, but one thing I've noticed is, like, thinking back to my school, some of the kids who were really badly behaved or just didn't pay attention and just didn't get on with school and would constantly get themselves into trouble, that kind of vicious cycle thing that would happen. Who knows, if you gave them a role and a play and something constructive, you don't know who you might discover. They could be the best actor in the world, they're just not given the outlet to do it. So yeah, I think it's important for education as well. Even if it's not to do with making a career out of it, it's acting and performing is just a great thing for people for many different reasons. Confidence and creativity and all that kind of stuff.
Awesome. So if there was one thing that you could say to 18-year-old you who's about to head off to ALRA, what would you say?
Take it easy. Don't take yourself too seriously. Take the job seriously, but also don't make it the obsession of your life, because it really isn't worth it. It is just acting.
Awesome.
It's great, and I don't mean that to belittle it. It's wonderful, obviously, that's why I'm doing it. No one would be crazy enough to do it unless they loved it. But it is just acting, and people get really caught up in it. And that's why we were having a conversation today, and I think what's helped me is, like, having an outside perspective. If you just make it your world entirely, it's too much. Like, just enjoy it when you've got it, but don't. Yeah, and also I think this isn't necessarily to me, this is to a lot of people, don't kind of expect instant results. It's a long game. It's I think one thing that a lot of people gets caught up in is that kind of the celebrity culture thing that exists. I think people want to be in it for the wrong reasons as well. I've just sidetracked too much.
No.
But just don't take it too seriously. But also, it's weird. Take it seriously, but don't take it too seriously at the same time.
Yeah.
I think, because it's great when you've got it, but have something. I would say have a hobby outside. That's something that's really good. Have something outside of it that you can do. Like, I like to go home to the Black Country to see my old friends who have nothing to do with acting and have no idea about how any of it works, and just take it easy. And like, I'm playing a band back home and stuff like that. It definitely keeps me sane, I think.
So you've mentioned a few times this outdoor tour you did. Can you tell us a bit about that? What the experience of an outdoor tour?
It was great. It really was like a boot camp, and I had no idea what to expect. I wrote off a letter. It was for George's Marvellous Medicine with a company called Illyria, who are great, very nice company. But I had no idea what was coming my way, because I'd just come off Scarborough, which is like a dream come true. And I was in the audition, and I did this audition. It seemed to go well, and the director said, "Now look, are you the sort of person who could be stood in the middle of a field, soaking, in the pouring rain, doing a show? Are you the sort of person who could find that funny, or are you the sort of person who would find that horrible? And obviously the right answer is funny. So I said funny. But it really was mad, because we were touring around the whole country, like Scotland to Cornwall to Wales, all over the place. Every different corner there was not an inch of the map that we didn't go to. But it was a long old tour, and we were driving around in vans, staying in travel lodges, sharing rooms, driving to remote castles or fields in the middle of nowhere, setting up steel decking, setting up the set. Our costumes probably weren't, like, we didn't get a chance to wash our costumes all that much because we're staying in travel lodges on the road. So we probably didn't smell great to people. But it was good. It was really good. It was a good experience because it made me appreciate, it put me through my paces and made me learn all sorts of things, I think. But we'd set up a show, we'd get about an hour once the stage is up. It took about 2 hours to put it all up, set all the props up and everything. Get about an hour to have some lunch, then we'd be on. We'd do the show, which is about an hour and a half, or maybe an hour and 10, so I don't know, something like that. And then we'd have to instantly strip it down, throw it in the van, and probably drive another 2 hours to the next travel lodge. Get there about midnight, fall asleep, wake up at 7 in the morning, drive another 2 hours, and just repeat the whole process again for 6 months. So, yeah, you've got to be, you've got to be a bit tough to kind of get through that, and it made me tough, I think, definitely. And that's why now I could never walk into the Hampstead or a job like this. Every day, I never take it for granted. Every day I walk in and I go, this is a dream job, because it's just wonderful.
So what's been your favourite job that you've ever done so far?
I would actually have to say this one right now. I mean, Scarborough was great, but at the same time I was straight out of drama school and I was probably a bit nervous, and it probably meant that I was not as relaxed as I could be. But this job has just been a dream come true, and I'm not even doing that much. I won't pretend that I am. I'm only really... Well, no, I mean, we are a company. I think the thing is we're a company. It's a really tight company. And we're all doing a lot because we're all helping to tell the story. But I mean, yeah, I haven't got a huge part, but it's just been great to be a part of, like, working with people who are all individually brilliant and bring so much to a show. Working with such a great director, Anna Ledwich, and fundamentally the play is great. Beth Steele is a genius, and I think she's one to watch. You'll see her name in bookshops very soon, I think. She's one to watch, and it's just been and also the theatre is so good. It's such a wonderful theatre. The facility, the stage, the actual building itself, the people who work there are great. It's just been, all around loving it. I don't want it to end.
Can you think of anything particular about the company itself that makes it so special?
Well, I think the one thing I find sometimes that I'll probably spend the rest of my life working on is having the balls to go into a rehearsal room, and if you've got an idea, to actually do it. Because sometimes you might have an idea on your own. I get this and I go, that's brilliant, and you actually get into the rehearsal room and you sort of shy back a bit. You kind of feel daunted and you feel like, oh no, that kind of creeping voice sets in and goes, maybe I shouldn't do that, maybe that's silly. But working with these guys, some of them have been acting for a long time, and just watching their process has been so inspiring. Like, I mean, I wouldn't start naming names because I think they're all brilliant, but just the ideas people throw out and the way that people just go for it, it feels like a very safe environment where you go, wow, okay, no, it is good, let's go for it. And that feeds into everybody, and everybody, I think, on this show has felt that they can just play so much.
Awesome. And have you, over the course of any show you've done, any rehearsal, any onstage thing, had a really bad corpse?
Ooh. Oh, one or two.
Okay.
One or two. Well, I was doing a show in Austria. We were doing this was a TIE job, and we were touring around the country, and we've been doing this for a few months. And there's a scene where this girl comes out and she's a journalist. She's playing to be a journalist. I'm supposed to be this young lad who's been... My girlfriend's left me. We both auditioned for X Factor together, and she got put through and I didn't. And so I'm kind of like boo-hoo. And so this journalist comes around to try and get some dirt on this girl, my ex-girlfriend. Anyway, we'd done this scene I don't know how many times, and one day, lo and behold, I look at her notepad and there's a giant penis drawn on the notepad. And like, you could show me that now and I'd just be like, that's not funny. On stage in front of so many people, like, I don't know what it is, but that shouldn't be there. I went to pieces. Like I won't even be. I'm not ashamed to say I went to pieces.
Fantastic. So you toured a show around Austria.
Yeah.
So what are the differences between, if you found any, between touring a show in England versus a country that does not, like, for example, speak your native language?
They're pretty good actually. The Austrians. The point of the show, because it wasn't the most complex play, but the point of it was that all these kids are learning English, and so they get to see us, real English people, talking, and it kind of contextualizes what they're learning. But they're all pretty good, and they're like, some schools differ. Some schools, because there was a lot of audience interaction. Some schools were a bit more reserved. Others, I think it's that thing of, with kids, it's giving them the permission to get involved with it. I think because it depends on the school. You do notice that certain schools might be more stricter than others, but I think it's like the point of giving them the permission and saying it's okay. Like you can get on board. But you get that in the UK too. To be fair.
Awesome.
As a job, though, I would say it was a bit more comfortable. I mean, we weren't having to share rooms. We were up at about 6 in the morning, but we'd be back at a hotel for about 1 in the afternoon and have the whole rest of the day to play around in beautiful parts of Austria. And yeah, it was great. And we were indoors as well, so we weren't getting rained on all the time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What do you think the most important thing it is for an actor to do or know in order to succeed, from your experiences so far?
Ooh, now obviously bear in mind, I mean, I'm only 3 years out and I'm still very much trying to work it out myself. Don't get me wrong, I've got 3 years worth of wisdom that I've gained, but I'm still trying to work it out. I think fundamentally, now this is obviously really stupid in a way, but I think love the job. I mean, love the job. It's funny, going back to what I was saying earlier, there's a lot of actors out there, and unfortunately it is true, I've seen this myself, who are obsessed, that they feel that, I'm young, I'm good looking, I'm going to go off to LA and become famous, and that doesn't happen, or they hold out for that break because they want to be famous and it doesn't happen. And in the meantime, they've probably turned down about 12 great roles at regional rep theatres and things that they might have turned their nose up at, but actually, they've missed the opportunity to do some really great things. I think love it, just love it. That's the thing, and don't stop loving it, because it tests you. Obviously, that I've had months and months of nothing, and months of nothing, and thinking that nothing is ever going to happen again. But I've stuck with it because I know that when I have got a job, I'm in heaven. It's great. It's just a great thing. It's the difference between, I think, working to live and we live to work. I think that sounds incredibly tacky, but yeah, I think so.
Awesome. If you weren't an actor, though, what do you think you'd be?
In prison? No. No. I really don't know. Actually, I really don't know. Obviously, we can all do other things for sure, but I really don't know. I couldn't tell you. I'm a strange person. Like I said, I did not get on at school whatsoever. There was really not clear what I was supposed to be doing. So probably still, if possible, something creative. Maybe I'd have found something else I could have done. If I'd found music earlier, maybe I might have been able to do something with that. But yeah, something like that. Something creative. It would have to be. I think personally, the way my brain is made up, I'd probably go a bit mad if I wasn't doing something creative.
Yeah.
Something that allows me to be weird, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Without having to apologise for it.
Okay, but on that, kind of all actors go through constantly hearing, well, if it doesn't work out, you could always do this.
Yeah.
At what point would you say, in anyone's career, is the point they can go, okay, it's time, and they should go and do something else, if any?
If it's making you utterly miserable, I mean, personally, I think for better or for worse, I'm in it for the long haul. And that doesn't mean to say that I think that I'm sat here thinking I'm going to work consistently. I don't. I'm more than aware that I could go for another year or two with nothing after this job ends. But I'm in it because it's what I love doing. I think priorities might change. I mean, that's not to say, maybe you might want to start a family and have kids, and then your priorities will change. But I think if it's making you miserable, and also, for me personally, there's nothing else that I feel like I could do. That's why I don't feel like it's an easy decision. But I think if you're doing it, but there is something else that you can also do, and you kind of it niggles at you, think, oh, maybe I could do that. Then I'd say do that instantly, because yeah, it's just it's not a safe. We all know it. Acting is not a safe career path. You should only be doing it if there's nothing else you want to do, there's nothing else you feel that you can do, and you love it. That's the only reason. Because God knows it's going to get hard, and it does get hard at times, for sure. Yeah, but it's brilliant. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm not doomsaying because it's obviously wonderful. It's just tough. We all know that. But.
Yeah. So on a more positive note, though, what roles would you hope to play one day?
Oh, do you know? I would maybe stating the obvious. I would love to have a good crack at the RSC. I think. I know Alexia Traverse Healy in our company has done. She did the histories there, and it's just that's a dream job. I think. Oh, do you know what? Something like I quite like to play a villain, like something like Iago would be great. I think that would be. I'm not saying I would be ready for that yet, but one day something like that, something that's really you could really get your teeth into. Yeah.
So why the RSC particularly?
I did say before that I didn't really grow up with theatre, but being from the Midlands, that's the one thing I did see a bit of, because Stratford's not too far down the road, so we did occasionally go and watch the odd play, and yeah, to me it's just that the work they produce is just incredible. The facilities they've got, and the directors and the team and the creative teams, it's brilliant. It's just for me that's exactly what I'd love to do.
Cool, awesome. Have there been any roles over your 3 years out so far that have kind of gone by and you wish that you had the opportunity to play or could audition for or anything like that?
Yeah, there's quite a few. There was funnily enough, actually, it was funny. This was well, this is what I'm going to tell myself. It was the wrong time, but they were casting a play at the Birmingham Rep, and it was in a studio space, and it was about these 3 lads who have just finished college and they're about to go off to uni. And they go on this. They're all from Birmingham. They go on this road trip, and mad things happen. And they get into trouble. It was just reminded me of me. It was just me and my friends. But for whatever reason, I think I was too old to be up for it. But yeah, I'd love to have done something like that for sure.
Cool. So you would consider yourself a straight actor, well, actually, from your face, I'm going to ask that again. Have you ever been involved with musical theatre?
Well, the play that got me into acting in the first place was doing Grease at high school. Yeah. I loved that. I just, personally, I don't think I would be good enough, because when you see people like yourself and people are good. But having said that, if I got the opportunity, I'd love to have a go at it. I certainly wouldn't say no. I just don't think. I think I would leave that to people who are actually better equipped to do it than to think, oh yeah, I'll do that. But yeah, I'd love to. I wouldn't mind. I'd love to have a go if I could do. Sure.
Awesome. So a very frequent occurrence in the industry is finding out about an audition the day before or the evening before.
Yeah.
When that happens, how do you find you cope with it best? Do you have any practices that you instantly use? Anything you go for in those situations?
Do you know what? Right, if because it has happened to me. Like, you'll have nothing for a week, and then suddenly it's like somebody's just put a defibrillator on your chest and just like giving you a massive shock, because it just like jolts you into life. If the audition's good, and because it scares me, it terrifies me, because suddenly my brain's firing in all sorts of different directions. I'm going, I need to learn these sides. I need to find out where to go. I need to book trains. I need to book time off work that from my normal job that I've got to do this for tomorrow. Yeah, it's crazy. But if the audition's worth it, just do it. Because you can waste time by flapping about, which is what I've done before panicking. Just do it. It's horrible in a way. It's grim, but you just got to do it. If it's worth it, it's worth it.
Do you have any any tips for people who find themselves in that situation on how to best cope with it, in terms of ways of learning the sides quickly, ways of?
Well, a good thing to do is obviously read it a lot, but read it, make it the last thing you do before you go to bed, and make it the first thing you do when you wake up. It tends to stick in your brain quicker. What I try and do, we're all different, that's the thing, but what works for me is I don't try and learn the lines, I just keep reading it. and just reading it and just. But I think I don't know. We're all different. For me, I think I've got like a photographic memory, so eventually I can remember how it looks on the paper, the actual shape of the words. It's weird, but just keep calm. Just try and focus. Don't panic. Just try and focus. It's grim. Let's not lie. It's horrible. It's like it's not enough time. Especially, I think that's the problem. You worry that it's not enough time and it's not going to be fair for you. You're not going to be at your best because you haven't had enough time to prepare. But which it might be true. But I guess you've just got to do it. It's grim. Yeah.
When you start a company, because in the industry we go through so many of them. You join, you make friends for life, you leave. You join a new company, you make friends for life, you leave. Do you find it difficult every time you start with a new company making friends straight away, or does it always come instinctively to you?
Most of the time, no. Most of the time, it's been okay. I mean, we've all worked with people that you don't necessarily get on with, but it's hard. It depends. Like I've done touring jobs before, so you've got to try and be civil. Even if you really don't get on with somebody, you've just got to try and find a way of being civil. But usually you end up really tight. It's a funny thing, but on the first day, most people, whether they admit it or not, are nervous or unsure about what's going to happen. So naturally, you gravitate towards each other because you're all in the same situation. That's good. And then by the end of the process, you've shared, whether you get on with people or not, you've shared so much time together, and you've been together at your best and your worst, that it just makes you it's a weird thing, but it just makes you like a family. It's cool. That's nice. That's one of the nice things about it. So
we're going to do what we do with every interview, and we're going to just throw some quick fire questions at you. So answer these as quickly as you can.
Okay.
So cats or dogs?
Cats.
Favorite comfort food?
KFC.
Ideal holiday location?
Wales.
Favorite word?
Balls. No. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Can I change that? I don't know where that came from. Can I definitely please change that?
Yeah. Okay. By all means.
If I hear that, I'll be so angry. Okay. Hit me with it again.
You panicked. Literally, you hit some of the other favourite words you've had. Flangela flum. 3, 2. Favourite word?
Pirouette.
Least favourite word?
Monopoly.
Least favourite food?
Stilton.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones?
Lord of the Rings.
Favourite swear word?
Balls.
What superpower would you have?
I would have invisibility.
Nice. So, last question of the interview. The title of the show. So, what next?
Well. Actually, at the moment, nothing is lined up. But I'm just get on with what I always do. It's very rare actually that I've gone from one job straight to another. I'm quite used to it, so I'm just going to get straight back to writing, but also enjoying time off as well. Because even though it's unemployment, it is unemployment. When you are in a job, it's all consuming. So actually, if you look at it this way, when you are out of work, that's your time to do the things that you weren't able to do when you're in a job. So just get on with things. Go for trips, see all your friends. Yeah, do things that you want to do. Write that play that you want to write, or write songs, or I don't know. Go and see films, go and see theatre. All sorts of stuff. Being out of work is great in a way because that sounds like a really funny statement, but it kind of can be, because when you're in work, as it's all consuming. For example, you don't get to exercise. That's a big thing. Like you can. It should be a full-time job being out of work, because then you should be writing, exercising, reading. There's no excuse to not be busy, really.
So Chris, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. It's been great.
It's been an absolute pleasure to have you. You've been wonderful.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you. Next episode, I believe, possibly will be the 10th one. If not. So it could be the 10th episode. Whoa, we made it to 10 episodes. And it's going to be quite a cool one. I think we've got someone quite cool on. So look forward to that. Please tune in, and thank you guys for all the support, the feedback, everything who's been sharing us so far. We really appreciate it. So thank you, Chris. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, Susan.
And we'll be back next week with a very, very cool guest. So see you then. Bye.
Bye.
everyone. Thanks for tuning into this episode, and make sure you leave a comment on your way out. We're almost to the end of the season. Our 10th episode will be airing next week, so make sure you tune in on Wednesday. If you like the sound of Chris, his links will be in the description below, and if you want to check out any of our previous episodes, click on the annotation in the top corner. Thank you guys for all the support so far, and remember to tune in next week for another awesome episode of So, What's Next?